if we are stuck in the past, if we cling to structures that were designed for challenges of the past, then we are not well equipped to face the challenges of today and the challenges of the future. And I was listening in this respect with great interest to your intervention, because you see, I'm not an economist. I'm a humble politician, but somewhere in the past I studied history. I was not a terribly good historian. But I do remember that the period of history that I studied, which is actually most of the past of continental Europe, they had such a currency system as you describe. They had various currencies, local currencies, national currencies. They were all used in parallel. There were parallel systems. And it didn't work terribly well. That's why we've moved on. And therefore, I don't think that it's a very good idea. I wouldn't call it a preposterous idea. I think it's a very creative idea, and it definitely challenges us and triggers us to provide the answers. And they may well become mainstream. Maybe you are right. Maybe we're going in that direction, but I don't think so, and I don't hope so. Because why would we do that? You said you're not a Eurosceptic, you're in favor of supranational structures, supranational bodies, supranational cooperation. And actually, if you ask most Europeans, they would support that, they would be in favor of that. But they still think that the only way to organize that is along intergovernmental lines. And that is exactly the problem. Intergovernmentalism does not work anymore. Intergovernmentalism is not the way forward, doesn't provide the answers for the 21st century. Not in the economy and not in foreign policy, as we have seen in recent days and weeks. And the question is also, why would we want intergovernmental solutions? Why would we want that? If we see that the challenges we are facing are of a European, a global nature, then don't you think that we need European and global structures to give the answers? Aren't they better structures to give answers to the challenges? And if that is so, if everybody would accept that rationally, then why don't we do it? And I think that is actually more a matter of distrust. Because it strikes me, again, I'm not an economist, but it strikes me that many of the economic decisions that were taken, and financial and fiscal and what have you, in the past, let's say, 2-3 years, are incredibly irrational. They're actually not based on evidence or economic facts, or they're taken very much on the basis of caricatures of other nationalities. And I mean, I'll stick to my own country. If I listen to leading politicians in the Dutch government and the statements they are making about people from other nationalities, they are caricatures. It is unbelievable, and that is the basis for their political decisions. Political decisions with a huge impact. I hear leading politicians, serious politicians, saying, well, you know, these Greeks, they're just lazing about on the beach the whole day, and we cannot possibly pay for them. Well, you know, there's the Greek in the room here, very, very hard-working Greek. You know, I'm sure they're lazy Greeks. I know a few lazy Dutch people myself. You know, and if I look, and then they say, oh, but the Greeks, you know, they should understand that they have to implement reforms. Well, I'm thinking back to the biggest demonstration of the trade unions that we've had in decades in the Netherlands was against reform of the pension system. Resisting the idea that the pensionable age should go up because we simply live longer. I mean, my country is as resistant against reform as any other European country. But I find it, I really find that amazing and worrying. It is also worrying because if you look at the European Union, you know, whether you like it or not, we are the most prosperous, the most stable continent in the world over the last, you know, good half century. The quality of life is better in Europe than anywhere else in the world. And we thank that largely to our cooperation and integration. And how did we do that? Because we trusted each other. We trusted each other. Now you can think that that came to us naturally. Well, look at the ruins we left behind after the Second World War. And there's some people in my, you know, some relatives, close relatives I have, who still, I saw, for example, wedding pictures of people who are very close to me, people who got married a couple of years after the war. And the backdrop of their wedding pictures was quite literally rubble. Quite literally. And they were people of different nationalities. And we had every reason in the world to hate each other and to distrust each other. And yet we didn't. That's amazing. So if I ever hear people say, this has got nothing to do with finance, but I want to say it anyway, you know, there will never be a solution for the Balkans, there will never be a solution for the Middle East, because look at history and look at when one country did this to the other country and there's just too much. No, the big thing that we did in Europe was to overcome that distrust.